Hello, and welcome to Boozy Book Reports, a simple podcast where we revisit childhood classics while drinking copious amounts of alcohol. We're your hosts, Beth
and Sam.
And this month we're reporting on The Babysitters Club, Mystery Number 3, Mallory and the Ghost Cat.
Spooky.
So spooky.
Not...
Okay, let's... I was a little bit surprised at the spookiness of this, but whatever. But we do actually, I'm super excited because we made beautiful drinks today. And by we, I mean Sam.
Thank you.
Yes.
I appreciate it.
Yeah.
Yeah. So we have two beautiful cocktails tonight.
Mm-hmm.
They're both kind of twists on classics. Well, one is just a classic. And so I guess we'll start with that one.
Okay.
So, as many of our, I guess, repeat listeners, all three of you, Wendy, Scott, Casey, know, I got mad horse girl energy. And so when Mallory talked in chapter 1 about how much she liked horses, maybe I put several exclamation points there. I was like, I can make every horse-themed cocktail. It turns out there's a bucket of horse-themed cocktails. So when we get to another horsey novel later this year, we'll bust some more of them out.
Horse energy go rising.
Nay. Again, I glommed onto it like I did a horse as a child, and I made us a horse's neck, which is it's sort of kind of like in the sort of mule kind of family where it's like something and a ginger something and ginger beer. So this one's Brandy, which I used my Mew Cow brand or Cognac, which has a cat on it. So appropriate.
Perfect.
And
it's garnished amazingly. It looks so cute.
Yeah. So I got a little crystallized ginger, a little lime wheel, and a little bit of orange peel, little orange zest. So yeah, Brandy, bitters, and ginger beer.
All right, here we go. It's good.
This
different.
The ginger beer is not as sweet as it could be. I used Q this time, and normally I use Bundaberg.
Mm-hmm. It feels not as bubbly.
It could be because through the filming process, I poured it into several glasses. So might be a little flat.
But the flavor's there.
Yeah. I really enjoy Cognac. I love like a Brandy sidecar is one of my favorite cocktails. So I like Brandy. I like Cognac. This is... in that wheelhouse. It's served in a little copper mug, just like all the little hipsters.
It's good. Again, I'm kind of obsessed with the garnish. That is so far like the cutest garnish we've had, I think.
Thank you.
Yeah, it's really good. Okay, so next cocktail.
Oh, a
beautiful.
A treat. So this is a twist on a white Negroni. So a Negroni is all the rage right now, as if anybody's watched House of the Dragon. Negroni's Gladiato with Prosecco is,
lovely.
What Emma Darcy says, and it became like a whole rage. Stunning.
Stunning.
Okay,
that was horrible. Sorry, everyone.
I know. Sorry for the messed up accents. But this is a white Negroni. So at one point somebody wanted to make one without the Campari, and so this is a twist on that. So normally a white Negroni has Suze, which is a French liqueur, but I in our small town couldn't find Suze. So I went with Galliano. So this cocktail is called Scott the Italian Stallion and is named for my horse abhorring brother-in-law, Scott. So Scott, there's your shout out. Here's your cocktail. But it's got gin, Lillet's gin. It's got Galliano, and it's got Lillet Blanc.
Bottoms up.
Not a fan.
Oh, not a fan.
I'm not a Negroni fan either.
No.
This is better than a Negroni.
Oh, gosh. I never want to try one of those. Wow.
Yeah, I don't drink them. My brother-in-law loves a Negroni. But this is not terrible.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Okay, so the Galliano is very herbal. And I think you don't like that.
No, I feel like I just drank some, like a Robitussin that has been like
the
fermented.
Original flavor, the OG flavor, not the cherry.
Not cherry. Like just straight up.
Yeah.
Plain.
That's basically what it is. Kevin really liked it.
Okay. Again, everybody should know that I'm not a huge drinker. And like really the only time I drink is when I'm with Sam. So I've never tried half of the alcohols that we've ever tasted here.
Yeah.
It looks cool on your hand.
I've never made this before. And normally, I guess you're supposed to make a white Negroni with lemon, but I thought that the Galliano paired better with orange. Mm-hmm. So I did it with orange bitters and an orange twist. And so I actually think that was the right choice.
Okay. Again, it looks beautiful. Everybody has the rights to their own taste buds. Okay, so I'm kind of excited because this is our first Babysitters Club book.
Yeah.
I honestly don't think I read that many Babysitters Club books growing up. I'm realizing now is that as much as a bookworm I am and was, I'm more of a book dragon. I just like to collect. And so I owned this book growing up, but I don't think I ever read it. I think I got it at the Scholastic Fair in like 5th grade and just had it on my bookshelf looking at it. So this was like a whole adventure.
Yeah.
But to get us started before we get in too deep, we're going to read the back of the book so you know what's going on.
So America's favorite babysitters are ghost hunters too. One night when Mallory is babysitting for the Cranes, she hears a cat crying somewhere in the house, but the Cranes don't own a pet. So Mallory and the girls go exploring and discover a mysterious white cat hiding in the attic. They name him Ghost Cat, and the mystery is solved, they think. Until Mallory and the girls continue to hear eerie cries coming from the attic. If Ghost Cat is sitting right there with them, who or what is upstairs in the attic?
Oh my gosh, terrifying.
It does
I mean, this is kind of a lot. Like, this came out in 92.
Yes.
Were you alive in 92?
I was alive in 92. Barely.
I just always think that you're a baby. But yes, so I was 11 when this came out, and Sam was 3. I was babysitting Sam. I was in the babysitters
I know.
club.
I was the goo goo gaga tiny baby.
Yeah. Well, and I was a legit babysitter by this age. Like, I had like a babysitting empire. There was like 4 or 5 families on my block I babysat for. I was in high demand, making like, $1 or $2 an hour, watching infants while parents went out drinking on the weekends.
It sort of baffles me, but also doesn't really.
It was the early 90s. People, and it was whatever.
My great-grandmother had her first child at 14. So like,
But I just feel like a lot of moms or parents or people with kids today wouldn't necessarily leave them alone with a 5th grader.
I think they don't actually even recommend you just being at home alone as a 5th grader.
So the fact that I was like diapering and changing children and putting them to bed was stunning. But I think that's why I was so drawn to the Babysitters Club growing up. I was honestly like, I think I had a couple of the books, and I know I read at least a couple, but I was obsessed with the original 1990s Babysitters Club TV series. It was... Oh,
I never watched the show. I think it must have been before my time.
Yeah.
But I was kind of amazed by the sheer number of like 1990s callouts that were in this book.
So many
it was
references.
Awesome.
Yeah.
We're like, we've got Air Jordan shorts and stuff. And I was like, oh, cool.
I think they called out the Ninja Turtles too.
They did, yes.
But I mean, if you're interested, I think it's streaming on Hulu right now, or
like the OG one?
The OG one. And it's, again, it was one of those shows that it was on cable, and my family didn't have cable. It came on Disney Channel.
Oh.
And so I would spend the night, and I was a little old, right? So I was not exactly their target market, but whatever. I would spend the night at my girlfriend's house in like middle school. Mm-hmm. And by this time I was like, I don't know, probably 8th grade. And I remember they had Disney Channel. And so it played early on Sunday mornings, and I'm an early riser. So it would be like 6 o'clock on a Sunday. I would get up, I'd read the newspaper. Everybody's asleep still. And then I would watch.
Did you make a cup of coffee and check the stock market?
By read the newspaper, I mean more like, look at the comics. And then I would watch Babysitters Club, and they had the amazing theme song, and it was just so good. And then they had Babysitters came out like with a movie in the 90s. Did you see that one?
I knew about the movie, but I didn't ever watch it. I'll be frank about my feeling towards children.
Okay.
Which is that I did not babysit. I was like I was down to tutor, but I was not ready to babysit.
Oh, you didn't have a kid kit ready to go and just like, I had a kid kit.
My sister did.
Yeah.
My little sister was like all about that life. She also did the same thing. She, in her early teens, watched a newborn.
Oh, yeah.
And nobody thought anything.
Yeah.
She said she mostly just sat there and watched Mari.
Yeah.
And the baby slept.
That's a lot of it.
Yeah.
Okay, so we have the Babysitters Club book series.
Yes.
We have the original TV show. We have the 90s movie. And then we have the Netflix remake that just came out a couple years ago.
It feels like there should be also action figures.
I've never
like
seen action
Hasbro,
figures. It would be amazing.
Feels like
Dawn with like a little tree sapling because she's going to plant it and save the planet.
Yeah.
And Christy with her hat and a clipboard. Yes. I do just want to do a shout out to the Netflix series. It was amazing. I freaking loved it. Alicia Silverstone played one of the moms, so I was all about that. The girls that were in it were such good actresses. They did a really great job of bringing forward like current issues into the series in like a non-gross way. And it was like, I just loved it. And then they canceled it. I was like, mother truckers. I'm a little depressed now, but that's okay. We're going to get into this book, which actually made me more depressed. So,
wait.
Yeah. So Mallory reminded me a lot of you. I literally in the first page wrote Sam ? Question mark.
It's like she's kind of got red hair and she loves horses.
Yes. Is it my friend? And she loves to cook and to take care of people.
I love cooking.
And she's questions all the time. You know, she has a big like why and like she's very like.
That's very sweet.
Yeah, it's you. I mean, a version of you.
Yeah.
Save the babysitting.
Yeah.
But I loved it because Mallory has this giant family and we open up to just the chaos of the Pike house.
Yes.
And they're making English muffin pizzas, which is a staple in my life.
Same. Actually, so it's not a staple in my family, but it's a staple in Kevin's family. They're called pizza witches, and we still eat them when we go back to Colorado. Kev's dad will always one day make us pizza witches.
Oh my gosh.
And it's like a whole staple.
Yeah. It just, I love it. And it's, as they were talking about it, like, yes, please. Yes. Also, like, it just made me laugh because literally on page 2, she's talking about how she used tomato sauce from a jar because she didn't have time to make it from scratch. I was like, this is Sam. This is Sam.
You know about my deeply Italian boss chastising me and my other coworker about not making sauce ourselves.
I mean, I'm not surprised.
We said we used Rayo's, which if you're looking for a jarred Italian sauce, Rayo's, we're not sponsored. But if Rayo's did sponsor me, I'd be so damn happy and I wouldn't even take any money. I'd just take a couple jars of sauce. It's so good, that especially that they have a 2-pound jar. Oh, it's perfect for lasagna. But anyway, Rayo's, so good. And we told him how good it was. And he went, oh, you don't make your own sauce? And my other coworker and I were like, no, we have jobs. And he's like, oh, but it only takes 45 minutes.
Oh my God.
Just like, you know how long it takes to open that jar, buddy?
Yeah. Like,
a minute.
I don't think I've ever made sauce. That's intense.
I've made sauce. I used to make sauce a lot, but and then I found Rayo's and I was like, this tastes better than what I made.
Okay, we're good. Yeah.
I mean, I think the sauce I make is maybe better than like Hunt's. Actually, I kind of like Hunt's the can, but like it's better than Prego. It's better, but Rayo's knocks it out of the park.
You heard it here, not first, but enthusiastically.
Do you know who told me this?
Who?
We went to like some comedy show when I was living in LA, and the guy stopped. He was talking. He was in his set, and then he was like, "This isn't a joke. This is just, you know,
just a fact."
Yeah, in the words of Bimini Bon Boulash, not a joke, just a fact. Buy Rayo's. It's delicious.
That's amazing.
And so it was so good.
So back to the Pike household.
Yeah.
They do a really good job. So Mallory is the narrator of the story, and she does a great job kind of introducing us to her family.
Yes.
It's very large. There's 10 of them all together.
There's some like triplet
boys, which is a lot. They have Vanessa, the poet.
It's the dreamy one.
Yes. I love, so there's actually a poem, page 6. Plates and napkins, forks and knives. These are the settings for our lives. Okay. That's wonderful.
I really enjoyed Mallory just being like, okay. All right. Great.
She literally goes, whoa, sometimes Vanessa can really be out to lunch. I was like, okay.
I feel I would relate to Mallory. I think you're right. I think you're right.
So she's introducing us to her family and we're seeing snippets of their lives and just kind of the chaos and the parentification of Mallory, which is problematic.
On page 7, I circled the whole chunk and wrote eldest daughter.
Yeah.
Because this was after like the whole Encanto movie came out, and there was like, are you okay or are you just an eldest daughter?
Yeah.
Was like a couple BuzzFeed articles. And I felt,
No, I remember watching Encanto by myself in my house. When she starts singing her song, the pressure song, I'm weeping. Yeah. Like my eyes I'm just like, oh, I just needed this release. I really needed this. It was just it was a lot.
Yeah. There's times where I can't listen to that soundtrack. But anyway, there is a lot of parentification of Mallory. But in some sense, like, that's just the way of it when you have that big of a family.
Yeah, you kind of, it just has to happen.
And a lot of times she's, you know, I don't know if she's like looking for validation, but she's happy to help.
Yeah.
And
She says she loves babysitting for her family.
And she cares for her family very deeply. There's a point later where she's with the Cranes and she says she feels almost guilty because she's, you know, enjoying getting out of the house and she feels like she's not supporting her family as much, but she is enjoying herself. And I think that while there is parentification, especially in this first part, her parents are also still supportive of her getting out.
Yeah. And it just, again, it's a huge family. What are you going to do?
Yeah, that's just the way.
So during the course of the evening, they find out some very exciting news.
Yeah.
That Dad's Uncle Joe is going to come stay with them for a bit. And this guy is the bee's knees. I mean, he does magic tricks and he's funny and Dad just loves him. Dad is like a super fan. And guess what? It does not end well.
Yeah. It turns out Uncle Joe's not so fun to be around these days.
No, not at all.
He's kind of crabtacular and everybody is so excited and it's just
so excited. I mean, they are like in a fever pitch to get ready for him. And
we want to make him art. We want to write him poems. We want to make a play. We want to do this. We want to do that.
And then Joe comes in. He's like, I need a nap. Like immediately. He's like, I'm going to go to my room.
Okay. So like, I know this is like part of the conflict of the story, but also I've been around my friends' kids.
It's a lot.
I've done the salmon summit here in town. Mm-hmm. Afterwards, I also want a nap after seeing 7 children.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I've worked with kids the majority of my life and it's very, although I love working with kids, I don't want to live with kids. Like it's too much. The screaming and the going and the constant, they just say your name 5,000 times in a row and look at me. And you're just like, I am looking with all my looks,
all my eyes.
Yeah,
eyes.
I cannot make my eyes wider. I cannot stop blinking. Like I am here. I'm tuned in.
I always said that I would be really, you know, for us, I think having our own kids just wasn't in the cards, but I always said that I would love to be an aunt and just be, you know, so excited, do all these cool things, you know, be there when times are hard and they can't talk to their parents, but also at the end of the day, you
toodaloo,
or after a couple days, you go home. But I do like it. We used to have some friends here in the Tri-Cities that like for their anniversary, their daughters came over and stayed with us and we had a sleepover and stuff. And it was so fun.
Yeah. In small doses, it's wonderful.
And then there's also times where other friends have come over and their kids have come over and when they left, we just held very still. We're like, whoa, they have so much energy.
Yes. My family has an infamous story that they like to tell every holiday. When my younger brother was around, he was a very active child. And I think he was like, I don't know, 6 or 7. And we were at a family Christmas and my cousin had brought a girlfriend and my little brother's just running around, just being himself. And he was in another room and there was an ornament on their tree of a picture of him. And she holds it in her hand. She's like, he looks so quiet. It's just like, yeah, there's something about, I don't know, the energy that comes with these houses. Like I had friends growing up that had like 10 siblings and it was just like a different vibe from like, I had one brother that was a lot younger. And so there is an energy and just like kind of a pace that comes. That's pretty fun.
Kev's family, his dad is one of 7 and his mom is one of 5. And whenever especially on his dad's side, whenever we get together, I think my like the way I envision their family is the way I envision like basically the Fiedlers running around, and they all, even to this day, they are just so full of energy. And the minute they all get into the same room, it's just like it's cacophony. But I love it. It's amazing. And you know, there's a lot of noise, but there's a lot of love, and there's a lot of, you know, just excitement. And so I sort of like, I sort of imagine this as like what my husband's family is like, because there's a bucket of them and they're just running around having the damn time of their lives.
I do have to say, for chapter 1, we get a really kind of nice picture of Mallory's life and their family. Yeah. It's pretty clear.
Even chapter 2 is quite a vivid picture of like the sort of the club, right?
Yeah. So the chapter 2, she's at a club meeting. It's kind of, I like the one thing I do appreciate about the writer or writers, I should say, because most of these were ghost written, I guess, which mind blown. Anyway, so I think one of the things that's interesting is they kind of lay out how the club works in every book, kind of opportunity. If you've never read a book, you know what's going on.
Yeah, you don't have to come in at book one.
Yeah. And the club is run by Christy, who started the club, who had the big idea for the club. I think book number 1 is called Christy's Big Idea.
Yeah.
I mean, it's there. They hold it in Claudia's bathroom, in her bedroom. And it's because she has her own private line and she always has snacks everywhere. And she's artistic and wonderful. And, an Asian American icon, actually. There's a really good documentary on Netflix about the impact that this character has had on society. So look it up. But it's great. And one of the things is that if you've never read a Babysitter's Club book, which maybe you should, is that the families will call into the club and ask, hey, we need a sitter for, on 7:00 on Saturday for 3 kids. They'll be like, all right, we'll call you back. And then the girls talk it out. Who's going to take them?
Yeah. Babysitter's Club, Christy and the magic of unionization. Collectivism right here. They're like, we could compete.
Oh my
gosh. Or we could work together and basically have our prices be uniform.
Yes.
Yeah. Babysitter's Club and the readings of Trotsky.
It's a good plan.
No, it's a seriously good plan.
I mean, they did good things with it.
And they had an organization. They ran it basically as a business.
Yeah. I mean,
but it basically, they took all the competition and said, listen, we're not going to be competition. There's no sense in it. We're going to divide the jobs equally. We're going to have a structure. We're going to have elections. Look at this.
Babysitter's
Club and the magic of socialism.
I will give Babysitter's Club props for being at least a little diverse too.
Yeah.
Because you have, that doesn't go with I'm talking about I give them props for being diverse in the book series.
Yes.
with attitudes and thoughts too, because, everybody might not appreciate a union, but I do. I also appreciate that, Mallory's best friend, they're junior members of the Babysitter's Club. So they're younger and they have certain rules, they can't babysit after dark and different things. But her best friend is Jessie Ramsey. And they have a whole paragraph about how Jessie's family, she sees that they struggled a bit.
Yes. Yeah. I was gonna mention the same thing.
Yeah.
It wasn't all, there was diversity and there was, sort of a recognition of each other's strengths and the fact that they all come from different backgrounds, socioeconomic, racial, religious, etc. But it wasn't the whole whitewashed view of and then Jessie was Black and everything was great.
Yeah.
It was no, there was some struggle when she came into this town in Connecticut, or whatever.
Shocking.
Yeah.
Okay. So Mallory gets the call to babysit for a new family, the Crane family. And basically this family's had an auntie who was
Aunt Bud.
She's wild and free, broke her leg, can't watch their 3 girls for a while. So Mallory takes the job.
But that's adulthood right there. She how did she break her leg? She got tripped by a dog or something.
Something, yeah.
It was something so mundane. This is adulthood. I rode a motorcycle. I got tatted out, broke my leg on the stairs. I tried sleeping and I threw out my back. This is adulthood. And I appreciate that representation in this book.
Yes, thank you. It's yes.
The worst you hurt yourself is during the most mundane things.
Oh, yeah. It's almost embarrassing. There's been times I've stood up too fast and a pain that has shot down my leg that I'm do I need to go to the hospital for standing? Maybe. Thank you, age. And, not stretching.
Come over, get on the squat rack.
No, thank you. So fast forward to the next day, it's Uncle Joe's coming and the kids are very excited.
Lit.
They're like, what can we do? We can be dusting. We can be doing this. And it's okay, everybody, let's take a breath.
Because nothing is as effective as an excitable kid dusting.
So the kids are all getting ready to go and everybody's excited and Mallory needs to go babysit for this family. So of course her dad drops her off and they meet the family and do the exchange of hey, my kid's going to watch your kid. Hopefully nothing happens kind of thing.
Everybody's so embarrassed.
Yeah. And then it is kind of funny what embarrasses you at that age of Dad, you talk to somebody. Stop.
Reading it now and as an adult, I was that's perfectly reasonable that he met the
Oh, yeah.
pair. Like, that's not embarrassing at all.
I would say my parents met like not even half the people I babysat for. And I babysat for some sketch people. Like one time babysitting horror story. So I literally go to this shady side of town that's like houses behind some car dealerships. And I go to this house. Again, like I never heard of them before. It was like a friend of a friend recommended me. I go in, the kids are watching The Crow. The parents leave.
What?
Yeah. And they don't even have like
wait, how old were the kids?
They were like 8 and
too
maybe like
oh my God.
10, something like that.
Way too young to be watching The Crow.
And this is this like kind of rundown house, which that is not the point. But the point is that the door didn't have a lock. It had a padlock. And so you had to padlock it from the inside. And I was like, oh my gosh, I'm going to die here tonight. And the kids were obsessed with The Crow. Like I think we watched it 1.5 times. And I'm watching it like, what is going on?
Died?
Yes.
That?
Yeah. Yes, very much so. And anyway, and I didn't have a car. So I was like 14 and got dropped off. And no, my mom dropped me off. And I'm pretty sure she just dropped me and like drove off. Like did not come out of bye, see you at 10:30.
This neighborhood sketch.
And it was like, there's no cell phones. Like I didn't even have the people's number, I don't think. Like it was a mess, but I made it out of it clearly. But Mallory has a much better time. Like the girls love her instantly. They're hanging out, but something's awry in the Crane house.
There's a sound.
There's a sound and they're trying to figure out what it is and where it's coming from. And it's this meowing sound. And the girls are like, oh, we don't have a cat. And then Mallory's mind just gets, goes into some tangent of okay, it's haunted. It's a haunted cat.
Obviously,
that's the next line of.
It couldn't possibly be that a cat, like we had a cat that literally, the reason we got that cat was because the cat got pregnant and then broke into somebody's house and had her babies under somebody's bed. So like, yeah, when you're young though, that's like where your mind goes. It's like, obviously ghost cat. And so she was pretty taken aback, but it instantly kind of leaves her mind because she's so excited that Uncle Joe's going to be home when she gets back. Yeah. Like she is super stoked. Not what she expected though. No, it's a real disappointment for everybody, including the mom and dad, which Mallory, I think maybe because of her parentification or whatever, she's very close with her parents, and she sort of even sees the crestfallen looks of her father when he tries to interact with Uncle Joe, who he really like idolized.
Oh yeah, and I think he was so excited to like show Uncle Joe like his family and have him be in love with his kids like he's in love with his kids. Yeah. I do have to say one thing I loved about the kids was on page 46, the triplets were rapping, which I would now like to perform for you. We're the Rappin' Pikes, and we're here to say we're hip, we're deaf, we're cool in every way. I'm Byron, I'm Adam, I'm Jordan, I'm Nick. For a real happening dude, just take your pick. That is.
That was one of the 90s moments where I was like.
Yep. I can't tell you how many raps I said. Like, my name is Beth and I'm here to say I'm really cool in every way.
Have you ever seen the SNL skit where they talk about, needing to respect your elders in hip hop? And then they go to the elders and they're like, the hibby, the hibby, the dibby, dibby, dibby. And it's all very like Grandmaster Flash.
I mean, that's some good stuff.
It's old school.
So Uncle Joe comes. Mom is like, hey guys,
we have to eat the blandest
We have to eat the blandest food ever. It has to all be white with no seasoning.
Just girl. And it really was like good before that. The food that they had. I mean, again, they had pizza witches. That's like the culinary peak.
So I do have to say that this book, although long for a child, is not long in story. No. Like it's a lot of the same. The kids are really struggling with trying to figure out a way to interact with Uncle Joe to get him to be involved. He does not seem to be happy for them. At some point he says, I had as much of this tomfoolery as I can take, which has to burn.
He's like kind of rude. At one point she like Mallory tries to introduce Uncle Joe to her friend, and all he can say is like, the youth don't respect their elders. And it's just like frustrating for them. And she finds herself sort of a bit resentful, right? They've had to change their lives. They've had to change their diets. They have to be quiet all the time. They can't just enjoy themselves. And obviously the family is quite boisterous beforehand.
And they're having to be quiet.
Yeah.
So there's just a lot of these interactions that don't go great with Uncle Joe. Yep. At the same time, Mallory is babysitting more for the Crane family. and again, having many encounters with the ghost, except they find out it's a cat really quick.
Like really quick. Yeah.
I was like, mystery of the ghost cat. Excuse you? Solved. We're halfway through the book and we found a white cat in the attic.
Ooh, spooky.
Shocking. I'm like,
well, that's over.
I literally was like, okay, what's going to happen in the next half?
Yeah, what's the 50 fucking pages for? Oh, we're going to talk about Uncle Joe some more? Cool. Maybe rebrand this book.
That was
Mallory and the struggle of old age. Mallory and the generational trauma of aging.
Yeah, I was kind of like, okay, where do we go from here? And basically, Mallory, they go investigate the attic again and they find some old letters. And pictures, and they're reading through them. And this old man was obsessed with his white cat, who looks just like Ghost Cat. And
we should though. I think first, at this point, we do need to say we are not poo-pooing being obsessed with your cat.
Are we gonna go there? Because we're obsessed with our cats.
Yeah, I love my cats so much.
I went to Sam's house today actually, and I was like, I love Sam. I love hanging out with Sam. I love talking with Sam. I ignored her for the first 10 minutes because I just was trying to snuggle her cats.
Yeah, I just ran around trying to put liquor in boxes, trying to get stuff over here.
And I was just all over Merlin.
Your cat's so light.
Her cats are so cute. And well, my cat is a chunk. Like
love her.
She's freaking huge. And I think she's dainty. But then when I held another cat, I'm like, she has dainty wrists.
So big.
Yeah. But she's dainty wrist.
No, I'm not saying she's chunky. Your cat could definitely beat up my cat.
Oh yeah, she could beat up me.
Yeah, it's just terrifying.
She's a big girl,
but like she's not fat. She's a
big girl. But your cats are so cute, and they are pretty lovey-dovey. Like you, especially Gizmo, you can just put your face and throw him around and snuggle him in every way.
Belly and he will not stop you. He will not. He actually, I think, likes it.
Oh yeah.
He is a monster, and I just go.
I would pay you $5 to try a kiss for Telly's stomach.
No, I would like to keep my face. Yes. Thank you. No.
As I'm like literally covered in Fratelli bite mark scars. It's fine.
You just got me into a real skincare program. I don't want to ruin this.
Yes. So this guy is really obsessed with his cat. Yeah. You know, get it. Like I think I annoy my friends. I mean, people bring up my cat so much now at work. They're like, "Oh, how's your cat?" I'm like, "Okay." I don't even ask you how your children are, how your life is, and you're asking me about my cat. Like this is okay. I don't feel like I talk about it that much, but I mean, I do have multiple pictures of her at work, and
I do think Fratelli's more interesting than some of our coworkers' children.
I mean, no hate, but you know, she's a lot of amazing things. Like I have some good stories.
I love some of our friends' kids, but some of our kids are real hard right now in puberty and teenager years. And every time you try to talk to them, they just say things like brokey and epic. I don't know what that means.
It's too much.
I don't know.
I don't know either. But I do know on page 89, it's so part of the Babysitters Club is some of the chapters start with letters.
Oh, I thought,
and it's the best. Cats. Has the world gone cat crazy? Yes, thank you. Love it. Yes.
Indeed.
Yes.
That's the next poem. That's the next poetry short. Cats. Has the world gone cat crazy?
Yes. And it's wonderful. It's lovely. So Dawn gets involved in some point in trying to figure out if the cat is a ghost or not.
This was my favorite part. There is few things more that I like than a child talking authoritatively about bullshit. I love it so much. Like Dawn came in and was like, "Yep, I think, you know," she like basically slapped the side of the cat and was like, "Got a ghosty here." Like it was so good. This is my favorite part.
She had like instrumentation, and she at some point she like says some facts or something, and I was just like, "Cite your source, woman," like because it was just so
you don't need to.
Wild.
She's got the talk box that they use on like ghost hunters. Yeah, she was like, "All right, we got a test here. We got a test for the footprints. We got to see if the footprints are real. We're gonna put flour down because if it's a ghost, you won't see the foots."
and then they put the string. It's like, the ghost will be able to break through it. So
she blasted through. That cat was like very real,
very, very real, and it's so real in fact that it belonged to someone else.
Yeah, exactly.
Yes. And its name wasn't Ghost Cat; it was Rasputin,
which it's kind of a cool
It's a cool name.
If I would just sing to the cat the whole time.
Oh.
I'd just be like, rah, rah, Rasputin, lover of the Russian king. Meow, 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 meow.
I feel like the cat would so appreciate that. So.
Oh, Dawn did her ghosty tests. But at this point, they're starting to pick up on some stuff with Joe, right? They're starting to see.
Oh, yeah. This is when Joe really starts like having issues beyond just cranky issues.
Yeah. So they sort of talk about some things that had happened. And I wrote at one point dementia ?
Yes.
And then on the next page, I wrote Alzheimer's ? And then turns out it's more than just the generational trauma of aging. It's the generational trauma of degenerative disease.
Yes, which they actually do a really good job of explaining it in the book in a kid-friendly way.
Yeah.
And there's a point where the kids are noticing it. There's a couple of events that happen that are Uncle Joe goes missing. A neighbor has to bring him home.
Yeah.
There's an incident where he like gets dressed up for Sunday church and it's
at like 10 p.m.
Yeah. And one of the girls gets upset. And so they realize that they're really not the place to give him the care that he needs.
Yeah, that's hard. Because the family obviously, they've at this point have also started to have some breakthroughs with Joe.
Yeah.
Where they see Nikki sitting on his lap and he's making the little handkerchief mouse for him. And so it's this sort of bittersweet moment where they've started to have some breakthroughs with Joe, but then they realize also that in some sense that Joe's standoffishness isn't necessarily because he's, a grumpy old guy or because dad's memories of him were wrong, but rather he's really struggling.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's a hard thing. That's a hard thing to watch,
Yeah, I have a family member that has dementia and it's progressing and it's challenging when they don't know you anymore. Or it takes them a minute to place you in their lives. And it's not a fun process for anyone involved.
No.
Especially the caretakers. It's really challenging.
Yeah, that one is really hard. My grandfather had Parkinson's before he passed. And his mind was still there, though he got fuzzier as the time went on. But that decline is really, it's hard to be part, to watch and to see and I think I felt really bad for the dad because the dad had all these great memories of Uncle Joe. Uncle Joe was like you said earlier, he's the bee's knees. Mm-hmm. He's like the coolest uncle. He does all this cool stuff with the kids. He told all these great stories. And then he's the one that's, like you said, it's hard on the caretaker. He's the one that sits there and watches, the shell of the once great uncle.
Yeah. And they have to make a really hard decision. They decide that he has to go into a more of an assisted living facility.
Yeah.
And the kids are pretty upset about it. Joe packs his bags. He's like, bye.
I think he was a bit sad. He was sort of like, well, I'm just getting used to you.
Yeah.
And we're finally like making some headway. That's right.
Yeah.
But he is also like, I'm not going to roommate. I'm going to shit talk him because he cheats at Scrabble.
Which, it was nice because in a few weeks they were able to go visit him.
Yeah.
Which has one of my favorite scenes. So like Joe, they see their uncle in a very different way because it's just a safer place for him. I loved it again when he was talking crap about his roommate.
Oh my God, me too. He cheats at Scrabble.
And then they go to dinner and Mallory is sitting next to Uncle Joe. So he leans over and she realizes that he has hot sauce that he's putting on all his food. And he's like, I can't stand bland food. A nurse brought me this. And it was just
asses would have been chapped so mad. Oh my God.
I ate plain potatoes for 3 weeks.
I can't.
Yeah.
Yeah. My mom, my mother-in-law, and actually my mom too, they're on much more, and my dad used to eat so much hot food, and now, age and time has taken that. But like every time I go back and I realize they have, the hottest thing they have is like Ortega taco sauce, and I'm stuck eating salt, pepper, and Ortega taco sauce for a week. My brother and I have started bringing our own bottles of like Cholula.
Well, and I do have to say, I was at work. Sam and I work together. I come out for lunch and Sam's sitting with another coworker and they have like a whole table of food and sauces and so many containers. I'm like, oh, you guys have a real spread. And the person Sam's sitting with is like, that's all Sam's. And it was literally no less than 5 sauces, no less than like 8 containers.
I
it was
just want to
amazing.
tell you that a coworker asked me if she could use my salad dressing this weekend, and I said, absolutely, you can always use my salad. Let me tell you, a real sort of changing point in my life was Beyonce's Formation song.
Oh my
because
gosh.
I realized that it was okay to keep hot sauce in your bag, and not only was it okay, it was swag. And so I was like, oh, hell yeah. You mean these tiny packets of Cholula I'm just carrying around is like cool? Awesome.
Okay, speaking of not awesome was the way this book ended.
Yeah, it was kind of a letdown.
It was such a letdown. So Uncle Joe's good. Mallory goes back to the Crane's house, and it's the day that Rasputin's, aka Ghost Cat, their owner, is going to come pick him up.
Yeah.
Or it up. I don't know if they ever said it was male or female, but whatever.
More cuddly when you say his name. That was where we were.
Yes. Again, they'd found all these letters. It sounded like that was going to be the next mystery, right? Like, no, they find the letters. They figure out who the owner is.
They give the cat back. The owner kind of looks like the dude in the pictures.
And that's it. The owner gives each one of the girls and Mallory a $5 bill, which they're all enamored with.
Well, and then the Cranes get another cat.
Yeah. Tinkerbell.
Yeah.
And that was it. I was misled.
We got Chenua Achebe here. So okay. So there's this book called Things Fall Apart. And we had to read it in high school. But there's a point at the end, which if you haven't read Things Fall Apart and you're like planning on doing it, maybe just like skip forward 10 seconds. But Chenua, the main character, Okonkwo, shit has gone bad. And instead of dealing with the shit, he just goes and kills himself in the evil forest.
Okay.
And that's the end of the book.
No.
The end. And we used to joke that like Chenua Achebe just got tired of writing this book. And granted, we're a bunch of idiot 16-year-olds reading this book. We probably didn't understand all the depth. But like...
That was this.
Yeah. Anne M. Martin, Chenua Achebe does.
Yeah.
She got tired. She said, this plot sucks. Turns out it wasn't really about a ghost cat at all. Again... like the Babysitter's Club Mystery 3, Mallory and the Beauty of Collectivization. Babysitter's Club Mystery 3, Mallory and the trauma of degenerative disease.
Oh.
That was the book.
That was the book, yeah. It was again,
Mallory,
midway through when it was already solved, I was like, it was rough. And again, can't say much more. That was it. That was the story.
Yeah.
I kept waiting to say, like, is there a part 2?
No.
I got to the end and I was just like,
No. I just
there's nothing?
I had a preview for the next one, which seemed like a real
page turner.
Yeah, which one was yours? Mine was Christy and the Missing Child, which
great, but
Christy and the Failing of Law Enforcement. Like, what's happening?
So there's some positives about this book. One thing I thought was really well done in this book was if I was a kid and I was learning how to babysit, there were some good tips and tricks in here.
Yeah, I actually agree about that. I wish in some sense I like didn't really like kids enough to like do that when I was this age. But like had I known, I would have read these.
Yeah.
There were she had like lots of tips for like distraction or like how to get a kid from crying or like when a kid misses their mom, here's how you, it was very good.
They had, again, some nuggets. I thought they did a really good job about talking about Alzheimer's with kids, like a way to explain it in a way
age appropriate
and to give it some understanding and from a kid perspective in many ways. They handled, again, the race thing pretty well. They related some of what was going on with Uncle Joe to what had happened to Claudia's grandma, who had passed by that time and had a stroke. And so when Mallory was trying to figure out what's wrong, she's like, is it a stroke? Is it something else? And so it was like, okay, we have some reasoning skills and some thinking things through.
Yeah. One thing I appreciated was that Mallory, I related in this point a little bit where Mallory was really frustrated and she was sort of venting her frustration about Uncle Joe and like that he's not very nice and things. And her friend points out, I think it is Claudia who says, this is a lot like when my grandma came through. It was, these similar things. And she had a moment of introspection and kind of went back on and sort of recanted her position. And I thought that was like, it was nice.
Yeah.
It showed that you could change and grow. And
I think that the Babysitters Club does that stuff really well. I think storytelling, a little lacking.
Yeah, but you're like 13 or less than that.
Well, you're probably like
10.
8. Yeah. 8 or 9 or 10 reading this.
And like plot development. And like, you know, a lot of 8-year-olds are like, there was no denouement. It's not a real complaint. I didn't really feel like this adhered to the hero's journey.
I mean, true. And a lot of us were just collecting Babysitters Club books. We weren't even reading them. We were just collecting
they were
them.
running this shit like Hasbro collectors. They're like, you want the TV? We'll give it to you. Gosh. You want the movie? We'll give it to you. Mm-hmm. You want to send in $350 at the back of the book? Were you tempted? I was tempted.
Oh my gosh. When I was a kid first of all, I
was tempted now to see what happens if you send 6.
I think return to sender. There's no way.
Do you ever wonder though what happens if you send a letter and an email? No, you wouldn't send an email. You would send an email now, but if you send a letter to Scruff McGruff, Chicago, Illinois 60652.
Oh, I bet they still have that.
Do you think so?
No, but maybe. Who knows?
The song is imprinted in my brain.
Oh, absolutely. As soon as you said, could you imagine sitting? I'm like, Scruff McGruff, Chicago, Illinois 60652. See, I said the wrong zip code, so
it doesn't matter. I think we're probably both wrong. Probably 3.
Okay, so we need to rate this.
So I think it's okay to like it. I liked it. In general,
yes.
Okay. At the age I am at now, there were other books that we've read that have actually been like kind of page turners. Mm-hmm. Where I think Remember Me was like that, where I like couldn't put it down. It was quite good. This is obviously not that. That is the cat real? Oh, I guess the cat's real. You find out on the next page.
Yeah.
But I do think that it's still a good book.
I really love the interaction between Mallory and her family. I love the interaction between the Babysitters Club girls together. Overall, I think that I would give this, I don't know, it wasn't that good, but it was okay.
Okay, I'm going to rate it in 2 ways, which I think might help. Maybe this will help you.
Okay.
So for story and for like plot and the book, it gets 2 out of 10 emergency numbers.
Okay.
Yeah.
It's like,
okay. But for like age appropriate information, explaining difficult topics, if I had a child or a niece or nephew, would I give this to them? Absolutely. And for that, I give it, probably 8 out of 10, American Red Cross emergency preparedness cards. So you're like babysitting, readiness card.
I would rate this for story.
Yeah.
It's 2 hairballs. Not my cup of tea. For like, again, like you said, information and all of that, I would go with, 2 ghost hunters. Like
a talk box?
A talk box.
Oh.
Maybe like one of those machines that beeps just at everything. So that you're like, is this an energy? I don't know. And maybe
it's
some night vision glasses.
Oh, it's always night.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Good. It's good.
Okay.
That's a collection of useful stuff.
Yeah. Just, okay. So there we go. That was the Babysitters Club. If you're interested in like hearing more about Babysitters Club books, there's a really great podcast called Stuck in Stony Brook that they're going through all the Babysitters Club book. They have a great Instagram. It's so cute. It's very nostalgic. It's very well done. So next month is June, and in celebration of Juneteenth, we are reading The Skin I'm In by Sharon G. Flake, which I've never read before, but it is an award-winning book about an African-American girl, and that's all I know about it. So I'm kind of excited. I didn't read a lot of Black literature growing up as a kid. I am a Black person, but I was raised in an area that was not very diverse. And so I'm kind of excited to see kind of like what comes up.
Yeah. I'm excited to learn and excited to, I hope we can do this book justice.
But everybody keep your expectations low for the episode.
Yeah, okay? The book is award winning.
The report
we are 127 in Norway. Thanks, Norway.
Yeah. So anywho, if you are enjoying the show and would like to support us, you can share episodes with your friends and family. You can follow us on TikTok and Instagram at the Boozy Book Report, and you can
make the drinks. Get some books, and especially for Juneteenth, read along with us.
Yeah,
we want to hear your thoughts. Comment. You could become a review, as my great aunt Linda's comments became a review. So please, we like that kind of interaction.
Yeah. So thanks for listening and happy reading.
Yay!